The Pixel 10 Pro XL isn't just another yearly refresh, it's Google's biggest bet yet on what a smartphone should actually be. On paper, it looks familiar, but once you dig in, you realize this thing is less about flashy redesigns and more about quietly embedding intelligence into every corner of the experience. And that's what makes it interesting. So why does it matter? Because Google isn't trying to win raw benchmark wars against Apple or Samsung, and spoiler, it still doesn't. Instead, it's doubling down on what Pixels have always been about: AI features, smarter cameras, and a software-first approach that tries to anticipate what you need before you even ask. With the Pixel 10 Pro XL, that vision feels more polished than ever. Let's start with the hardware, since that's what you notice first. The design doesn't really scream new generation. The familiar camera bar, polished frame, and matte glass back are all here. The phone is slightly heavier this year, but for good reason: a bigger battery, and a magnetic ring inside for Key 2 wireless charging, which also unlocks Google's new Pixel Snap accessories. Color-wise, Jade is the standout, a bold gold and green duotone, though you can still play it safe with obsidian, moonstone, or porcelain. On the front, you get a massive 6.8-inch OLED display with Google's Super Actua branding, pushing brightness to a blinding 3300 nits. Basically, sunlight readability is no longer a problem. Security and biometrics are handled by a familiar combo: under-display fingerprint and AI-enhanced face unlock. Unlike most Androids, Google's version is secure enough for banking apps, all without fancy infrared sensors. That's an underrated win. Now, let's talk cameras, because no Pixel conversation is complete without them. Hardware-wise, nothing groundbreaking. A 50-megapixel main, 48-megapixel ultra-wide, and 48-megapixel periscope zoom. The big story is software. Google's new Super Res Zoom takes you all the way up to 100x. Yes, triple what last year offered, with AI enhancement that actually makes those shots usable. The samples shown so far look surprisingly sharp, especially considering where competitors tend to stumble at extreme zoom. Add in the classic Pixel look, balanced colors, wide dynamic range, and you're getting consistency on top of innovation. Video also stays sharp and stable with an optional active mode for smoother footage, though you'll need to give up 4K for it. Under the hood, we've got Google's brand new Tensor G5 chip, their first fully in-house design built on TSMC's 3nm process. Performance is about 30% better than last year's Pixel 9, both in CPU and GPU. But here's the catch: even with those gains, it still trails the iPhone 16 Pro Max and Galaxy S25 Ultra in raw numbers. That said, benchmarks aren't the whole story. In real use, Pixels remain smooth, optimized, and responsive. And when it comes to sustained GPU performance, where most flagships throttle hard, the Tensor G5 actually holds its ground better than you'd expect. Where Tensor really earns its keep, though, is in AI. And Android 16, paired with this chip, is where the Pixel 10 Pro XL starts to feel genuinely different. Take Magic Q. The phone constantly analyzes your screen. So if someone texts you a question and the answer lives in your email, calendar, or photos, it'll suggest a reply instantly, all on device with no data leaving your phone. Then there's Camera Coach, which guides you into framing shots better. And new AI photo editing with voice prompts. Even Recorder is getting a wild feature. Hum a tune and it will generate music. Useful or not? We'll see. Gemini Live, Google's conversational assistant, also gets a boost. It can now use the camera for visual context. That means you're not just talking to an AI, you're showing it things in real time. Combine that with live translation in calls, which looks more natural than Samsung's attempt, and you're looking at some real next-level tools. Battery life gets a small upgrade to 5200 mAh, paired with 45-watt wired charging. Wireless is where it gets more exciting. Key 2 brings magnetic alignment, and the Pro XL alone supports Key 2.2, which ups wireless charging to 25 watts. With Google's Pixel Snap ecosystem, you'll start seeing Pixel-specific accessories like stands, wallets, and power banks that snap on magnetically. So is the Pixel 10 Pro XL worth buying? Honestly, it depends. If you're coming from a Pixel 9 Pro XL, the upgrades, faster chip, 100x zoom, and a few AI exclusives might not be enough to justify the leap, especially since many Android 16 features could trickle down. But if you're on an older device, or you're drawn to Google's AI-first vision of what a smartphone should be, this is easily the best Pixel yet. Personally, I think what's most exciting isn't the specs sheet. It's the way Google is threading AI into everyday tasks, making replies smarter, photography easier, and translation seamless. While Apple and Samsung still push hard on hardware, Google is playing the long game, teaching us that the future of smartphones isn't just about power, it's about intelligence. And that jade finish? It might be reason enough for some people to upgrade on its own. What's your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments section. See you in the next video. Take care.